ये रेडियो पाकिस्तान पॉडकास्ट है।
Assalamu alaikum, this is RJ Laraib from Planet FM 87.6, the only English FM of Radio Pakistan, Islamabad. So, audience, as today is 1st May, and on 1st May, Labour's Day is celebrated all across the world. So, today we are going to discuss and acknowledge the toil of the labourers, and for that, I have Dr. Jasim Anwar. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me in this important
It's a pleasure to have you. So, sir, starting with your introduction, please.
Well, I'm Dr. Jasim. I'm working as a sector specialist with the Planning Commission, but I'm also a development expert. And I worked with a number of UN agencies on a number of initiatives, including social protection, policy, for the state of Azad Jammu and Kashmir, and social protection initiatives and poverty reduction interventions in Balochistan and Punjab.
All right, that's good. So, sir, what Labour Day means to you?
This is a day which, to me, is a day which we should salute the backbone of economy.
Exactly.
Which are the labours, without which the circle of economy stops. So, the day that we celebrate to acknowledge the efforts and the contributions that the labor across the face of the earth providing services, and we acknowledge them by their contributions. So this day is celebrated across the world and also in Pakistan. So yeah.
So sir, how has the labor landscape changed over the years in Pakistan?
You know, we need to understand the landscape, the labor rights, and or obligations and the government policies. So the number one element that has changed over the period of time through last decades, and especially in this government, is understanding the labor rights. You know, the earlier times, the concept of social protection and the minimum wage protection, and the labor disability covers and the pension covers were not very much in practice, although there were certain rules and laws. But right now, this government is focusing on giving the due importance to, implementing those laws, creating awareness among the laborers to ensure that a minimum labor wage is given to all those laborers in across the sector. That's number one thing which you're doing. Another thing is, it's called, a registration of the economy, informal economy. Many of the laborers, whether they are a maid worker in a house or they are in hotel, some waiters or cooks, or for that matter in the industrial area, or any other masons or the laborers across the world, the most and utmost important is that they should be registered for their protection with the labor departments. So that's one important angle in it. That is, government is implementing that as well. Another important angle is, their insurance covers. So the social protection authorities are introducing such packages where the laborers can register for their health protection, their education protection, their livelihood protection, and their accident cover. Because most common malpractice is that, the laborers, whenever they're not registered and they get any injury or disability, the disability cover is not provided to them in a right and right way. So that's more, or even sometimes the deaths occur. So you must have heard of number of incidents in Pakistan that the Flan A building is burnt, number of laborers died, the B factory is, they fell down and the number of laborers got injured. The coal workers die because of the gas inhalation. So that's their protection of their own health. That's number one. Important and utmost important is those who hire labor. There needs to be certain conditions and a comfortable working environment, a safe working environment where labor perform their duties.
All right.
These are called compliance to the safe labor practices.
All right.
I'll give you one example. Number of workshops you see, and the small children, they're working, they're doing labor, even adults are working, but there is no certain weight lifting precautions in place.
Yes.
There's no training provided to
No.
laborers as well as to those who are hiring those laborers. That you should not do this, that your back will get injured. The compliance of the authorities or those institutions who are providing labor or hiring labor, they should make sure that they provide safe environment, physically safe, mentally safe, environmentally safe, and a healthy environment for laborers to perform their job.
All right.
Not only in the field, also in mines, in factories, in workshops, in shops, and even in house. I mean, if your maid is not protected by legally, by environmentally, by physical violence or gender violence or exploitation, or not giving the right salary, it means you're doing injustice to the labor.
So, sir, how should they be educated about their rights? All the rights you've discussed right now.
Number one and the most important thing, while the government is working to enforce those laws through certain regulatory bodies like labor departments, social protection authorities, human rights authorities, there's one angle of implementing those things. But because of the big population, access issues, government may not be present everywhere.
Yes.
So the exploitation chances are very high.
High.
Which means that the people, the community, and the labor themselves need to realize and make sure that their rights are protected.
Okay.
Their rights in terms of getting the right payments, a safe working environment, and for any injury or any disability, the right protection and the cover. This is the responsibility of all of us. 90% of Pakistani economy is informal.
All right.
Informal means they are not registered.
Yes, they are not registered.
The labor registration and the labor departments register those small and medium enterprises which are 10 and above, 10 employees, 10 laborers or above. The one which are below are yet to be covered by the legal and legislative frameworks, that even one person, if you hire, you need to register that person with the authorities.
That's my responsibility.
That's your responsibility.
Yes.
That's a community responsibility. That's a people responsibility. So it is, I think, rather than the employer's responsibility, that if they hire any employee in the house as a cook or a maid or a driver or a laborer or in factory or anywhere else, it is the employer responsibility to take care of those rights of the labor.
Yes.
And then make sure that they are registered. Yes.
All right. So, sir, what are some challenges we encounter to implement these rules?
Number one challenge, the many people, many authorities, many small and medium enterprises, since they cannot provide the right type of protection, or they exploit the salary. I mean, if a labor is deserving 38,000, 36,000,
they're not getting it.
And they're not paying it. So that's why they're not registering, because they're not paying that right.
Exactly.
Neither the labor, whether male or a female, is aware of the minimum wage.
Yes.
Or and nor that employer is aware. So the people are making escape route of not registering their that. Another thing is law enforcement. Because our law enforcement authorities have limitations in terms of their outreach and access and resource constraint. So that is why they take benefit of this gap and not register their employees and not providing them the right cover. Yes.
All right. Sir, coming towards child labor, what would you say about it?
This is a crime. Let me tell you, on signals, on number of places you see, a number of hotels you see child performing, doing labor. And most of time it is enforced labor. The child do not have this understanding that they should beg for money. It is someone behind that, either
Yes.
their parents or there's a mafia who is, enforcing them. The biggest problem in Pakistan is this child beggary, it's attitude. The government is doing a number of initiatives, including child protection rights.
Yes.
Child protection authorities are there. There's a number which should be freely available, widely distributed by medias,
To report?
PTV. Yes, that if you see any child
All right.
being performing this child labor, that should be reported to the authorities.
All
So
right.
that the one responsible should be held responsible. Now, this is a punishable act, that
Exactly.
if you make some child do labor, that is punishable by law. Yes.
And they're being overburdened. I've seen them doing household chores and all.
I mean, regardless of this overburden, even if a child is performing a baggery or a labor in a workshop, in a mine or in a house or in anywhere else, that by itself is a labor and itself is a crime in Pakistan. It's a punishable crime in Pakistan now. If anyone knows that someone is making a child doing labor, that should be reported, and that should be reported to child registration authorities or district commissioner officers.
Yes.
The deputy commissioner office or
Yes.
assistant commissioner office or any government office. That should be immediately reported.
Sir, how can workers' rights, safety, and well-being be safeguarded?
This is it's a question of outreach and compliance and the strength of the regulatory authorities, the rule of law. The question is that the child rights or any other labor rights, whether it's adult, there has to be a system of accountability, a punishable system, while not only enforcing those laws through government machinery, it's also responsible to make the laborers aware of their rights as well.
Yes.
So that if they're exploited and the government is not able to perform the due protection for their rights, the labor themselves then should reach out to the lawyers, to the authorities, or to various unions or the forums for their right protections.
All right.
So it's
Sir,
hand in hand.
what opportunities exist for them here in Pakistan, according to you?
There's a labor department in every district.
Okay.
The district commissioner, deputy commissioner office is in every district. At a national level, there are labor and human right commissions that are available. At individual level, the number of communities, the unions, they exist within each district, but yet what I feel that there should be a toll-free number where any laborer can request a rescue or
Yes, you're right.
and a national number that I am being exploited, whether it's a child and that number should be widely circulated through medias like Radio Pakistan, through other private channels, through Pakistan television networks, through mass media campaigns, through digital media campaigns. That number should exist, that anyone can report a labor violation.
And those complaints should be entertained and penalties should be
Imposed on those who are violating the
Exploited,
labor
yes.
rights. Yes.
all right. So, sir, what skills are necessary for the laborers?
Yes. On the other hand, while this is also important that labor rights should be protected, one most important thing is it's called competencies
Yes.
and the skill sets. Licensing process is very weak in Pakistan. For example, if someone is mechanic, the authorities that provide the license to those laborers, it's not very much widely available.
They should be registered for what they are
Yes.
doing.
For a skill set, they should be registered. They do the competencies and the skills for which a labor is hired should be competent and trained enough to provide that labor in a more professional way. That licensing process or competency and a skill registration
Yes.
process is in place through TEFTA. technical and vocational authorities as well as through
Okay.
skill registration authorities, but still it's not very widely. So the government is doing a lot, but it also needs to penetrate those to the district level, for these licensing mechanisms for any labor to, register uh, him or herself for a certain skill or a competency for which he is performing that labor.
All right. And what would you say about worker training programs in Pakistan?
Worker training programs are implemented by these social security institutions.
And are they free of cost?
Yes, number of them are free of cost, but if there is a cost, very nominal, like in
Okay.
hundreds maybe. So again, it is the right place where they should report to the labor department as there is more accurate information. But workers, employee safety, and the federations are there. ILO is also working with
Yes.
government of Pakistan to protect these rights.
What policy changes would you suggest?
Number one policy change, ensuring that all workers, laborers are equipped and trained and licensed
Okay.
with the right skill.
All right.
So for that, the policy change needed is to incorporate these skill sets and make them available at the ground level. That's number one thing.
Okay.
Second is making a priority agenda to make laborers aware of their rights and where to report that their rights are being violated. Number three, strict compliance against the labor laws violation and strict penalties on those who are violating those laws on employers.
Yes.
This is also important for registration, making informal economy into a registered economy, a digital economy. That's also important. Three main actions, yes.
All right. All right. And coming towards overseas laborers
Yes.
from Pakistan, what would you say?
Overseas laborers are very much respected. Obviously, there are some countries which the regulations or the regulatory authorities are not very much in action, so they are being exploited in some places. So there is that is why International Labour Organization and or embassies across the world, the labor violation should be reported by overseas laborers. Now, all those who are contributing the Pakistan economy's biggest portion is remittances that these
Yes.
laborers or overseas employees are sending to Pakistan, and which is very much important for economic growth of the country. We respect them and we acknowledge their contribution and we salute those laborers who are working in
Exactly.
hard environment. And it's unfortunate that we were not able to provide the right environment for them. That's why they left. But in years to come, the economic growth, there are a number of initiatives being taken, especially on skill set building, competencies, skill enhancement programs, small and medium enterprise development programs, this incubator centers in universities, overseas employees protection, overseas employment corporations. They are doing a lot to protect their rights and making sure that they are safe across the world. And yet, for economic growth, it is equally important that a safe environment is provided across the world wherever or overseas employees and laborers are working, and they're contributing towards the economy. And without them, this economic cycle will be disturbed, obviously.
All right. So, are there certain like specific working hours for laborers? I think there should be.
There are actually. There's a minimum number of hours that a laborer can perform in a day and in a week. Normally, it's week criteria is followed from 30 to 36 to 42 hours a week, but sometimes it varies. But if a laborer is performing above those hours, that should be either compensated or not encouraged, because a certain hours labor, the efficiency of the labor performance and the likelihood of an accident increase.
All right.
So ideally, laborer should not perform more than 8 hours a day.
All right.
But in some cases, if it's allowed, it should be rightly compensated.
All right. Sir, what role can we perform in advocacy of their rights?
We obviously, as a community, we as a community needs to make sure that any labor is provided the right remunerations, right salary.
All right.
He is in a safe environment. His health, and especially mental health, physical health is protected. His disability is covered. He is registered.
Yes.
Make sure that he's registered with the right authorities, and his contributions and his disability is covered for any such bad accident, any death, any disability should be provided. So registration with the authority is the right action at this point in time. And then reporting any child or labor violation to the authorities as a community is our responsibility.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir.
Thank you so much.
And I'm hoping you'll join us again soon.
Inshallah.
In some other program, inshallah. So is there any advice for our audience?
Audience, they are laborers. We salute you. You are the circle of economy. You're the backbone of economy. We really respect you. You need to make sure that your rights are protected, and the community as a whole should ensure that these laborers are working for this economy, working to make their bread and butter, to earn for their children, for their houses. We need to respect them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, again. All right, listeners, this is all from our side, and I hope this program would have been beneficial for you people. And this program was basically meant for giving a tribute to all the laborers across the world, and this is their day, and we need to celebrate it too. So thank you so much. This is Laraib signing off, and I'll join you again soon with another exciting topic and with another exciting guest. Thank you, and Allah Hafiz.
ये रेडियो पाकिस्तान पॉडकास्ट है।